All right, the drawing overview. We've previous videos have gone through and set the custom properties, which is over on the task pane. So we'll just do a real quick run through. Let's go ahead and open up a part, because we created a part template. We created an assembly template at some point. That's probably on my laptop now because I saved it into the other folder. Assemblies and parts, I try to match up the properties that I want to track so that the data set is pretty much the same for each file type. That way there's not a lot of variation, not way more data in one, way less data in the other. It just kind of depends on how it falls out. But under the file properties or over on the next to the little options, we can go into file properties. You have summary information, so your metadata starts with the author, keywords, title. And if you wanted to save this information into your part template, you are the author using this version. If it's out on network drive or out on Dropbox or one of our cloud drive, then we're probably going to leave that out because everybody's using it. And if you want it in there, go ahead and populate it. There's other places where we can pull it up. So one of the things that we looked at was if this is not available, underneath, and I did not launch Canvas yet, but underneath our, let's see, C drive, I want to say it was Program Data, SolidWorks 2017, Language English. There is a text file called Properties. All right, so you follow that all the way down, and that Properties file is what is being accessed. So one of the things that quite commonly happens is when you upgrade from 2016 to 2017, is it's still looking for this in the 2016 folder, and this will be blank. So try to identify its location, make sure the file locations and the options are pointed to the correct locations, and you'll have access to those items. Also, if you edit the list and this is blank, then the file's not there. You need to point to it. So these are all of the defaults. I can't imagine using all of those, but probably the top 3 or 4, and then anything that you add will show up at the top. Okay, so that gives you the properties. And then there are custom and there's configuration specific. So we did a little bit with configurations, off and on, kind of like with the springs, or when you look at some of the, as far as the 5.2 assignment, where one path takes you down the individual parts versus a part with all of the plates in it, something along those lines. So that being the case, custom would be common, and maybe a better way to put it, common to all of the configurations, all of the instances of this part. So maybe the description is that this is a plate. And then when you go over to the configuration specific, now we would get into things like the part numbers. The materials could vary. So I'd have to decide what is going to be better, having it material or to at the custom level, all of these parts will have the same material, or each configuration has the ability to be in brass, be in aluminum, be in steel. All right, so there's hazards that come with this. Mainly that the configuration specific, that if I put everything in configuration specific, then I get to populate every configuration. All right, so if I'm not doing an Excel database where I can copy and paste, it's going to get a little tedious if the parts are more than about 3 or 4 parts. My 30-second attention span patience starts to show, and okay, just create the design table Excel file so that I can just drag all that information in there. All right, so the summary information, custom, configuration specific, that all relates to custom properties. And we'll see if there's a custom property in here. Since there is no custom property, This is one of those, also a file location, and I'm a little bit options, file locations, custom property files. That properties.txt, I think, also shows up under one of these locations. So be careful when you start changing those around. Verify the locations on your system. So in one respect, there's another advantage of having the network or having the cloud folder that just says, I'm going to take all of these important things and take them out of 10 levels deep in the SolidWorks or program data or wherever they were hidden, and put them in a location that I know where it's at and I can locate easily. All right, so what it's asking me is to, since I have not made one, I'm going to go ahead and create now. Create now. There it goes. Oops. Now that I have two of them going, we will pick one. All right, and so at the very, very top level of Property Tab Builder, the one that always escaped me because I guess I never really paid attention to it is the type. First thing you're going to pick is Assembly, Drawing, and Weldment. And I wasn't really sure why they put Weldment in as part of the property, but you know, there's kind of a whole nother subset of data that goes along with weldments when you start doing cut lists and when you are generating that kind of massive data. So things that are very specific to the weldments. So we would have a part file, and then this is a, well, we'll have to save it because I don't remember this one off the top of my head, but it's a PRP file that has our information in it. So I tell it that it is a, I think it's a PRP, and I want a text box. I grab it into the group box, and the group box is, the caption is going to be the part name. Okay, I will get it out there eventually. And then, you know, what's going to show up with the function. All right, and usually if you need a space, the underscore, or just make it all one. And then if there is a default value, you can enter the default value, or you can pick from the list of parameters that is associated with the model. All right, so a lot of those are already available and in place. Next one down is this going to be the custom tab, or is this going to show up on the configuration specific tab? All right, so we're starting to assign those tabs. And then going down the list, if I added a list to the group, things like I like to do finish as a list. All right, so we can have things like raw stock, and then anodize, powder coat, chem fill, go on down the list. Also, if it was things you were going to do like a drawn by, and you had maybe 4 or 5 initials that you wanted to put in that list, rather than setting it as the author, you could go into this list and have just a selection of whoever. And then, am I allowed to write something in myself? Can I, if this is the list and you can only select from this list, then don't allow the custom values. Check the allow custom values. You can type something in, so if it changes, it goes. One of the things about the number that's nice is increments the values. I go back and forth between having my revs be letters and my revs be numbers. It just kind of depends on the project. But if I do a revision as a number, the handy thing is it starts off at rev 0, my pre-production revisions. And then I come over and say, okay, I'm ready to go up 1. I'm in production. And from there, then it's into the the production and into the life cycle management.
Can you use a decimal number there, like
no?
0.8 or 0.9?
Well, I don't know. Since it is a number, yeah, I believe so. Value 0.00, nope. How about 1.01? It's doing a whole number value. So it is. That's interesting that it's not allowing for that property. All right, a checkbox then. Notice everything's going into the group box. A checkbox says if it's checked, you're going to do this. What are the defaults? And then the advanced options. What items are going to be able to play? Same with the radio button. If I do 1, then what do I get out of that selection? We can add another group box, which would be things like I've done material. I decide maybe the finish needs to be with the material, so and then text type, or data, dates, and yes and no logical operators. And then there's my material. All right, so go through this basic process and say, there are the items that I'm interested in. So I developed this out, and largely this is going to, for me, I've always tried to keep it the same between the part and the assembly. The only thing I would do in the assembly is maybe the material gets a dash dash. Yes, there are, it's mixed. There are different materials. It's not all one material, so I don't really have to do anything with it. All right, so when we go to save this, it's going to tunnel down somewhere. And it tried to, but it didn't quite make it. So program data, SOLIDWORKS, language, English, templates. So that's interesting. How about we copy that. And paste it and see if it'll jump. Oh, can't find. Program data, SOLIDWORKS. All right. So maybe that was one of the issues was we lost a folder somewhere. Language, English, and sure enough, no templates. It didn't bark at me, so. All right, so we'll see if it takes it. All right, and then at the top level, if I click back in this area, I can go over to assembly, and now it's going to go from that PRP to the assembly file. And pretty much when I am applying these, all right, so I can close the property tab builder. We'd do a little bit better job if this was for real. And then let's see, is it not pointing there? No, probably not pointing there because file locations. So let's see where the file locations went to. And this was custom property files, so custom appearances. And I pointed it to English, but that was where the properties.txt was. So since there's only one location, let's go with the add and thread profile. So still can't find it. All right, I don't know what it's doing. It's going to make me navigate through all of them then. Either that or I missed one of the either that or plural. All right, so the one I'm interested in is does my pull down. Pull down is now empty because I did point it to English. All right, so things that I might want to add individually, I could still come back over to that file properties or to the file properties. All right, so if that worked, then now I have a group box, and I could name the group box. This is general information. This is materials, specification. On down, I could have these collapse since I'm in that for the recording, kind of the squish screen. Then I might want to collapse a few of these until I need them. All right, so that starts the process of the drawing template. This is where the data comes from. Whether I'm in the assembly, creating my assembly, and I populate this information as is appropriate for the assembly, or in the part, and for that matter, when I create one for the weldment, that is where we're pulling this data from. Now, all of this, once we establish those names, those common names, we have to keep those, right? Because the template's going to be looking for those, and if it doesn't find it, it's not going to associate, it's not going to go retrieve that data and fill in your field in the title block. All right, so we're going to start with the standard drawing template, and let's just do the landscape. This is typically where I got myself in trouble with the creating one from scratch kind of thing. All right, so at this point we have a DRW DOT that shows up under New. So these are your document templates, PRT DOT, hover over that, DRW DOT, and then the ASM. The drawing template, because the drawing can have the multiple sheets, the multiple sheet formats, it also has that SLD DRT, drawing template, or drawing something. And it comes under save sheet format. All right, so process is that we're going to save the sheet format first, and then we're going to verify and make some adjustments. All right, so when I edit the sheet format, everything becomes accessible. And do I ever use this? No. Bye. And we'll drag that over a little bit. Application, no. I lost a line. That doesn't really hurt my feelings any. All right, so all of that is an annotation, so I can drag it out here. And those two can stay kind of together. And actually, let's go ahead. And so the drawing information and double-clicking lets you into the annotation. And then the formatting leaves a little bit to be desired as far as the whole word wrap, and my patience is showing yet again.
So how small a font can you go?
Well, this being a 6, you can type it in. Nope, I guess not 10 thousandths. Nope, I think 6 at 60 thousandths is yours. All right, so we put that over, make that a little bit clearer. All right, and just like I would do in creating a fresh template, I'm going to look at kind of the spacing so that I have some consistency, some uniformity. So 1.3, if that's going to be my number. Oh, that was the length. Actually, I needed to go down a little bit more, find the additional parameters. There we go. All right, so the Y distance, 1.25. And I was okay with, well, 1.8. All right, 1.9 it is. All right, at this point, I don't like fix except in drawing templates, because we can fix that. And as long as I know that I'm fixing those, basically saying stay there, then I can go back and identify them pretty easily if I need to adjust it or make the change. All right, the other option that I've seen is that you actually apply a dimension to each of those lines and then you hide the dimension. Well, at some point you go back and you show the dimension, and wow, look at all those dimensions I've got on my sheet format. Where did they come from and what are they pointing to? All right, so unless otherwise. All right. So without going through all of that, you get the idea. And so if I highlight this, watch what happens. Everywhere there's a little box, that's an annotation. And as you hover over there, you have an approval, you have a drawn by, you have dates associated with each of those items. You get to decide which ones you want to keep and which ones are going to go away. So the property sheet for the material, well, since I went into my drawing or my custom property and I named it MATL, all caps, it's not ever going to find the material. All right, so I need to check, and I need to make sure that it has that continuity between the items. All right, and we can adjust and do the little tweaks. All right, so a lot of times when I do this, we go through the process. Let's see, where's the other one? Take a second here and see if it comes up. All right, so we have let's go with the RGB version. Sure, paint's fine. All right, so one quick note. So this is the newer logo, and this is 20 kilobytes. What you don't want is the massive TIFF file that's 1 meg. Because you put this on your sheet format, and all of a sudden you wonder why I have 20 sheets that should only be about 500-600 kilobytes, and on all of a sudden it's like 30 meg. And you're going, what just happened here? All right, so we want the small file, and let's see if I can. Nope, I don't want to. Okay, it's highlighted, so I should be able to Control C, and then coming over. Oh, lost the sheet format, disappeared on me. Control V. Nope. Let's see. What's the one I usually do this? Do this one with. Well, let's see if we can. Maybe that wasn't it. But try the select time this time. That may have been why it didn't Control C for me. We'll try it one more time. Nope, not quite. Either that or I'm getting a handful of really big ones out there. All right. Find a location, let it think about it, and then we will scale it by finding our geometry, placing it in the title block, and then if you double click on it, oh, that one opened it. What was the other one? I know I've gotten those to go transparency. It may have been a different insertion way of inserting the object. Anyway, you can to a certain extent. I don't edit with paint. Got the size. That'll take it back to the original. Oh, properties maybe. There we go. Width, height, scale, and sharpen zoom state. That still wasn't transparency. I know that I've gotten to do it on several occasions, but all right. So my first rendition, in the evolution, and we're going to check a few items first. So under the properties for this sheet, this is going to be the next sheet. All right. Since I haven't saved this as a custom sheet, I don't have anything to select in here. All right. So if I go right now and I add another sheet, it's going to be the A landscape before I modified it. The other item of interest was under document properties, drawing sheets, and that all important use custom property values from this sheet on all sheets. Sheet number 1. No. I want each sheet to be individually grab the data, pull the data and the annotations in from that sheet's part file. All right, so that may have been whatever it was, the fall of 2017 when I was having the issues with the same sheet showing up, and this was not a selection. I'm hoping that this is the correction. Okay, so File, Save Sheet Format, This is going back to the defaults, and if you're working with the defaults, that's fine. And then this is the SLD DRT. I'm not worried about the drawing template at this stage. I need that sheet format first, and then I can go to the drawing template. All right, so my A size. And then now that there is a my A size, I want to make sure that my A size is loaded and apply the changes. Yeah, whatever. Notes. Wow, that was cool. Just don't lock up on me. There we go. All right, so one more. And because, and it's kind of hard to see, this is sheet 1, but this should still, no, this is still the sheet. The sheet format has not given it its extension yet. So I'm going to overwrite, yes, I want to replace. Now I can go in and do File, Save As, Drawing Template, and then my A size. If I can type. Nope, I was, I'll try that again inside of the, alright, now I'm just going to place this one since we'll go back and delete it again later. Alright, so at this point it is a DRW-DOT. Anything you place in here, anything you link to, anything that you draw will be saved with this document template. So at this stage, you have pretty much completed the sheet format, so you've got the drawing template. Get out of it. If you need to make another modification, open it up, save it to the sheet format, save it to the document template, get out of it. Alright, so new, and this would be under templates. There's my A size. I have my modifications. I double check by going and adding the next sheet, and sure enough, it didn't do it. So we go back to the properties. We can delete that one. And reload. Apply changes. Alright, since it didn't do that, let's go ahead and my A size, reload, apply changes. Make sure I don't want two sheets in my sheet format, so save sheet format, let it override, and then also File, Save As, Drawing Template, and my A size. And I always feel like I'm missing a step or I'm doing something wrong here, but this is the way that I've gotten it to work. Alright, so close, and it still did. Ah, okay, what did I forget? Use custom property values for models shown in default, same as sheet specified in document properties. Select sheets to modify. I hope I don't have to save it with the sheet and then go back. I still always feel like I'm doing something wrong with this. Alright, well, save sheet format. Go ahead and save the drawing template. Somewhere somebody at SOLIDWORKS is laughing at me going, if you would just do it this way. Alright, so one more try at it and then we'll... Nope.
So it keeps replacing it. Why is it
Oh, I didn't rebuild.
Oh.
Okay, so my patience, once again, showing I'm full of that tonight. So let's try it one more time. Okay, close that one. Well, probably don't need the sheets then. Rebuild. Okay, it's me, operator error. Alright, we get the idea that this is going to take, what I usually say about drawing templates, this is a 2-week to 2-month process to get this fine-tuned and working the way that you want it. because you'll be cranking along, making drawings, having a good old time, and then all of a sudden, I really wish it would do this. I know how to go back there and find that annotation and put that in and make that work, and then, well, it didn't quite do it the way, and then, next week you're finding something else, or somebody comes to you and says, hey, it'd really be neat if it did this. And so it goes in kind of you'll be working intensely on your drawing templates and your sheet formats for a week or two, and then you won't touch it for 6 months, and then you will have forgotten what everything did anyway. All right, so to start fresh, this is the other one where I get in trouble, but I'm going to go to the custom size. So this is without any file properties, without any annotations that already have links. All right, I don't know if 279, one of these days I'll do the math, but 11 inches by 8.5, starting with a blank sheet. And no, I don't want the model view to start. Once we either rebuild or double check the properties, got to be in the sheet. We'll just do a real quick check. Scale 1:1, first angle, third angle. I don't know if it'll take the sequence, but a lot of times I will do S1, S2 because that's not really something I'm referring to. And if I get up to 10 or 12, 20 sheets, then start getting those errors and it overrunning the screen, and I think I said arrows, and then we can apply those values. So apply changes, it updates, has the border in place, and then we're still editing the sheet format. And on the sketch, then we'll go into rectangle. And we have a location, 0.5, 8.25, and I can fix that one. Okay, and then 10.5, we wrote 11.5. Oh, maybe it was. Okay, and then 0.5. Oh, I did 0.25 on that one. And fix it. Alright, and then my line across. And it will have we can stay with 1 inch. That'll give us enough to work with. Get out of it. Escape. We'll fix. And then, if I'm making just a really simplified geometry, then I haven't applied properties to anything yet. So let's make a sample part, and it doesn't have to be anything special. All right, we go back to our properties, and here's everything that we used. Box, revision 0, don't have anything there. Material, and finish will be raw, and we'll go ahead and apply and save. All right, and then we need to find a place that we can get to that, so documents is fine. And it's just a basic sample that has the majority of our file properties in it. What that does then is when I insert that, okay, we're in the sheet format still, so no. That's the edit. And why am I grayed out? Still grayed out. Edit. Oh, still says editing sheet format, but I lost my... Okay. Well, anyway, the sheet format disappears into the background. Well, disappears. Slips into the background. All of the object lines go to that light gray, whatever we've set for our layer or on the sizing. And then now I can go in, find the sample part, and it doesn't matter a view. So now I have something with some data traveling with the item. Under the annotations, we go into a note. And under the note, we had the part name. And then I want to link to it, link to property. It is the model found here. Drawing view specified in sheet properties or selected component or other drawing view. And it's from the sample. And then there is the part name that I created, and OK. And hopefully I named it box. I'm not sure where that one came from. All right, so we can go through and we can populate out the annotations, fill in our items, and go through that process. So do we get properties over here? All right, so same thing. We haven't saved anything yet. Haven't given it a name. Let's double check on the locations. All right, so no custom properties. We'll double check under the properties that same as sheet is not checked. All right, save the sheet format. My blank A size, my blank A, yeah, whatever. All right, now that it exists, properties, we're going to go back to the standard set. And actually, we might have to reload it here. Okay, apply changes, make sure that it works. Okay, so at least that far it worked. And I don't want, since I just saved it, I don't want to save that with the drawing template. We'll save the sheet format one more time. And that may be, again, kind of an unnecessary step, but I did it again. When it's highlighted in blue, I'm kind of expecting it to type, so I'm not sure where exactly it's going. And templates, predefined, okay. So we haven't done any predefined views or anything, so file new, come over to the templates, go ahead and double check. That one came up okay, so don't even have to rebuild that one. Alright, so you're going to go through this process of verifying, troubleshooting, verifying, making small incremental changes and building this out. Again, the issue is if I do this once a year, then next year when I come in and we have our next round of, hey, we've got a new customer, need a template for them, yay. So, you're going to go through the process. All right, so one more. Let's see, and then we'll finish up. I'm going to go ahead and delete that one out. In the let's see if I can find it because I'm not used to using it. Maybe it's under the sheet format. Haven't tried the automatic border. Title block fields let you, I think it's the one that lets you pick an area that you can manually type in information. It does not necessarily travel, it's just if you wanted to make notes, here's an area that you can put notes into the title block manually. Let's see what the automatic border does. Entities from the drawing sheet to delete. These entities will be deleted when automatic border is exited with OK. I'm going to have to look at that one, so I have no idea what it's doing. Display grid. Yeah, probably not. And one of the things that I have as far as a complaint with displaying the grid is every time I've displayed the grid and actually used it to align views, it shifts with the view as you select the view, and then the grid moves with that view. So makes it pretty much useless. My opinion. I'm sure somebody out there is using it and saying it works just fine. All right, so the one that I'm looking for are those predefined views. Drawing views, there we go. Empty view and predefined view. And I have not created any views, apparently. So drawing view 1, open part. And so another one I got to go back and read up on again because I don't do it often enough. All right, so pretty much with predefined views, when you populate from the view palette or into that front view, then the other top right isometric views populate with it. All right, so where was that at? Drawing views. Let's go with an empty view. So they're there. Hide show. And I'm not sure where it's at. Oh, let's go there. Now, why wouldn't it show me that where they'd actually be useful? All right, so my empty view and my drawing view 1, predefined. And so if we go back and find sample, and I drag it into the to the top view, and if I think that is where if I had predefined the right view, the top view, they would have populated automatically. All right. Again, I'm about as fast bringing in from the view palette, getting the views that I want, and I just haven't adopted the predefined views. So if you're interested in them, you know where to find them and kind of where to start doing something with them, and then you can come back and teach me the right way to use them. All right, so that's our overview. It's again, it's not intended to be the full coverage. What is it? The SDC Publications drawing book is about 400 pages and goes through a lot of the details. If you really want to get into the drawings, there is way more information. Get it to the point where it's usable before you really kind of jump in at the deep end.